All right, deep divers, buckle up, because today we are going deep on artificial sweeteners.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, those sugar substitutes that promise all the sweetness, but without the calories.
Yeah, you find them everywhere, right?
Everywhere. Diet sodas, yogurt,
Toothpaste.
even toothpaste. But are they really as harmless as they seem? Well, that's what we're going to find out today.
We're going to figure that out. We are diving into some serious science.
Yes, we are, to give you all the info you need.
What's really fascinating is we're consuming more and more of these artificial sweeteners every year.
All right.
Yet we're only beginning to understand their long-term effects.
It's true, and there's so much research out there. It can be really overwhelming.
A lot to sift through.
So we've done the heavy lifting for you.
We have.
We've got medical research studies, literature reviews, all about how artificial sweeteners affect us.
Absolutely. It's a jungle of information out there.
It is.
We're going to be your guides.
Exactly. Now, before we jump into the nitty-gritty, let's make sure we're all on the same page. What exactly are artificial sweeteners?
Okay.
And how are they different from good old-fashioned sugar?
Okay, so think of it this way.
Okay.
Sugar is like a key that fits perfectly into the lock of your taste receptors, right?
Okay.
It unlocks that signal of sweetness. Artificial sweeteners, they're like a different key. They can jiggle the lock, right? Send a signal, but it's not as strong or as sustained.
Interesting.
They trick your taste buds into thinking you're tasting sweetness without actually giving you the same energy punch.
They're master impersonators.
They are.
Now, I've heard there are a bunch of different artificial sweeteners out there.
Yeah.
Are they all basically the same, or are there some key players we should know about?
You've got your saccharin, the oldest of the bunch, discovered all the way back in 1879.
Wow.
Then you've got aspartame, acylfame potassium, or ACE-K for short, sucralose, neotame, and advantame.
So 6.
These are the ones with the FDA thumbs up.
6 FDA-approved sweeteners. Got it. Now let's get to the heart of the matter.
Okay.
One of the biggest questions people have about artificial sweeteners is, do they actually help with weight loss?
Right.
And that's how they're often marketed, right?
Of course, yeah.
So what's the truth? Do they work or not?
Well, some studies show that replacing sugary drinks with artificially sweetened ones, yeah, it can lead to some weight loss.
Okay.
But it's usually pretty modest.
So there's some evidence to back up those claims, but maybe not as dramatic as, like, the ads make it seem.
Exactly. And here's where things get really interesting. More recent research suggests that these artificial sweeteners might actually have unintended consequences.
Oh.
Especially when it comes to our gut microbiome.
Hold on. The gut microbiome.
Hey.
That sounds a bit technical. Break that down for us.
Sure.
What is it, and why should we care?
It's actually pretty simple. Your gut is home to trillions of bacteria.
Okay.
Think of it like a bustling city of tiny helpers.
Yeah.
That play a big role in digestion, immunity, and even how your body processes energy.
Okay, so it's a whole world inside of us.
It is.
And it sounds like these artificial sweeteners might be messing with that delicate balance.
That's what the research is indicating.
Oh, wow.
Studies have found that artificial sweeteners can change the types and the number of bacteria in our gut.
Right.
And get this, some of those changes might actually promote weight gain.
What?
And increase the risk of metabolic syndrome.
Wait a minute. So the sweeteners that are supposed to help us lose weight might actually be doing the opposite.
It's a big puzzle.
That's pretty wild.
You're still piecing it all together.
Yeah.
But the findings are definitely eye-opening.
Wow.
There was even a study that linked artificial sweetener consumption during pregnancy to a higher BMI in infants.
So even if you're not the one consuming the artificial sweeteners, they could still be affecting you.
It just goes to show how interconnected our health really is.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've tackled the obesity question. Now let's talk about another big concern, cancer.
Okay.
I know there have been some scary headlines in the past linking artificial sweeteners to cancer.
Right.
What's the real story there?
There were some early concerns, especially about saccharin and bladder cancer.
Right.
But those fears have largely been put to rest by more recent research.
So no need to panic and throw out all our diet soda.
Not exactly.
Right.
While most studies don't show a strong link between artificial sweeteners and overall cancer risk, there are a few findings that are worth noting.
Okay, I'm sensing a but coming.
Haha. You know me too well.
I do.
Some research has pointed to a possible connection between high consumption of artificially sweetened beverages and kidney cancer.
Okay.
Specifically in postmenopausal women.
So it's not a total green light,
Right.
but it's not a complete red flag either.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay.
We need more research to get a clearer picture, but moderation is probably a good idea.
Moderation is key. That's good advice in general.
It is.
All right, next up, let's talk about heart health.
Okay.
Artificial sweeteners are often promoted as a heart-healthy alternative to sugar.
Right.
Is there any truth to that?
When it comes to those cardiovascular risk factors like blood sugar, cholesterol, and blood pressure, the research on artificial sweeteners is kind of a mixed bag.
Okay.
Some studies show no effect at all,
Right.
good or bad. Others actually show improvements,
Okay.
especially when they're replacing sugary drinks.
So maybe there's some benefit there.
Yeah, but you knew it was coming.
I did.
Emerging evidence is suggesting a possible link between artificial sweeteners, particularly diet sodas, and a higher risk of stroke and heart disease.
Whoa, that's not what I was expecting.
It's a bit of a curveball.
Yeah.
Researchers are still trying to figure out what's going on.
Any theories about why this might be happening?
It's possible that those changes to the gut microbiome we talked about earlier could be playing a role. Some of those changes could lead to inflammation and affect blood vessel function, which are both linked to heart problems.
It really does all come back to the gut, doesn't it?
It does.
That microscopic world seems to be influencing so much of our health these days.
It's amazing what we're learning about it.
It is mind-boggling, really.
Yeah.
All right, so we've covered obesity, cancer, heart health. That's a lot of ground we've covered.
It is.
Is there anything else we should be aware of when it comes to artificial sweeteners?
Yeah, let's talk about the brain.
Okay.
There's been some research looking into whether these artificial sweeteners can trigger headaches
Oh.
and migraines.
Yeah, I've definitely heard people say they get headaches after drinking diet soda.
Right.
Yeah, is there any science behind that?
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
Some studies suggest that certain artificial sweeteners, like aspartame,
Okay.
might mess with serotonin production in the brain.
Serotonin, isn't that like the happy chemical?
Yeah, it is involved in mood, but it also plays a role in pain perception. When those serotonin levels are disrupted, it can trigger migraines in some people.
So it's not just in their heads.
Right.
There could be like a real biological reason why they're experiencing headaches.
Exactly.
Huh.
Interesting. But here's the thing. Not everyone who consumes artificial sweeteners gets headaches.
Right.
Some people are more sensitive to these effects than others.
Makes sense. We all react to things differently.
Exactly, and we still have a lot to learn about how the brain responds to artificial sweeteners.
Well, this has been a whirlwind tour of artificial sweeteners and their potential effects on our health.
It has.
We've learned so much, but I have to admit, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed.
I hear you. It's a lot to take in.
It is.
Let's try to distill this down to some key takeaways.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right.
So what's the bottom line here? Are artificial sweeteners good or bad?
The answer, as with most things in nutrition, is it's complicated.
Of course.
They're not a simple solution for weight loss or overall health improvement.
Right. It seems like they come with their own set of potential risks and benefits.
Yeah.
And it's not always clear which way the scales tip.
Right. The research on artificial sweeteners is still evolving, and there's a lot we just don't know.
Okay. So what are we supposed to do with all this information? How do we make informed choices about using artificial sweeteners?
I think the first step is just being aware of those potential risks and benefits.
Right.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
Hopefully this deep dive is giving you a better understanding of what the science actually says.
Definitely has for me, but I still feel like I need some guidance on how to apply all this to my own life.
It's about finding what works best for you.
Yes.
If you're managing diabetes, for example.
Oh.
Artificial sweeteners might be a useful tool to help reduce your sugar intake.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about for the rest of us?
Right.
What should we consider when making choices about artificial sweeteners?
You know, think about your overall health goals.
Okay.
Are you trying to lose weight, manage a health condition, or just simply reduce your sugar intake?
And those are all good factors to consider.
And pay attention to how your body responds.
Mm-hmm.
Do you experience any side effects after consuming these artificial sweeteners?
Right.
Headaches, digestive issues.
That's a good point. We need to listen to our bodies.
You do, absolutely.
Yeah.
And remember, moderation is key.
Right.
Even if you don't experience any negative effects, it's probably wise to avoid consuming large amounts on a regular basis.
Yeah, so not exactly a clear-cut answer, but it's helpful to have all those questions in mind
It is.
when navigating the world of artificial sweeteners.
For sure.
Right. Now, before we wrap things up, I wanted to mention something that we haven't really talked about yet,
Okay.
and that's natural sweeteners.
Right.
There are options like stevia and monk fruit and honey.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah, so,
Natural sweeteners might offer a different set of benefits.
right?
And risks compared to the artificial ones we've been talking about.
Exactly. So for all our listeners out there, I encourage you to explore those options and do your own research.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's about finding what fits best
Yeah.
with your lifestyle and your health goals.
Yes, this deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about.
Yeah.
I'm sure our listeners feel the same way. This feels like we've only just scratched the surface, really.
Yeah.
Are there any big unanswered questions about artificial sweeteners that researchers are still trying to figure out?
Oh, absolutely. One of the biggest mysteries is the long-term impact of these sweeteners.
Right.
Most of the studies we have look at short-term effects.
Right.
We need more research to understand how they affect our health over decades.
Oh, wow. So
So we're watching the trailer for the movie, but we're missing the whole story.
that's a great analogy.
Uh-huh.
And, those missing chapters could have some major plot twists.
Yeah.
Another big question is how our individual genes and lifestyles might affect our responses to artificial sweeteners. So you're saying some people might be genetically predisposed to be more sensitive to the effects of these sweeteners.
That's a fascinating area of research.
Yeah.
We know that our genes play a role in how we metabolize different substances.
Right.
And artificial sweeteners are no exception.
Right.
If we could unlock those genetic secrets, it could help personalize our diets and identify who might benefit from avoiding or limiting certain sweeteners.
Wow, that's personalized nutrition on a whole new level.
Right.
Wow.
It's the future of nutrition. It's still early days for the field of nutrigenomics.
Yeah.
But the potential is huge.
It is huge. Okay, one last question that's been swirling in my mind.
Okay.
What about the impact of artificial sweeteners on future generations? We talked about that study linking artificial sweetener consumption during pregnancy to higher BMI in infants.
Right.
Are there other potential consequences we should be thinking about?
That's a really important question, thinking about the transgenerational effects of our dietary choices. There's growing evidence that what we eat affects not only our own health, but also potentially the health of our children and even our grandchildren.
So even if we don't see immediate negative effects from artificial sweeteners, those effects could be passed down through generations.
It's a possibility.
Wow.
Researchers are investigating this.
Yeah.
We know that epigenetic changes, alterations to how our genes are expressed, can be inherited.
Okay.
And some studies suggest that diet, including artificial sweeteners, might influence these modifications.
Wow. That's a pretty profound thought.
It is.
It's like the choices we make today could have ripple effects far beyond our own lifetimes.
It really highlights the interconnectedness of our health across generations.
Yeah.
And the responsibility we have to make informed choices.
Right.
Not just for ourselves, but for the future as well.
Absolutely. Well said. I think that is a powerful message to end our deep dive on artificial sweeteners.
Yeah.
We've covered so much today. From the chemistry of artificial sweeteners to the complexities of the gut microbiome and the potential long-term implications for our health and even the health of generations to come.
Yeah, it's been an incredible journey of discovery. And as we've seen, there's still so much to learn
Absolutely.
about this sweet and sometimes not so sweet world
Very good.
of artificial sweeteners.
So to our amazing listeners out there, stay curious, keep learning,
Keep diving deep.
keep diving deep, and make informed choices that empower you to live your healthiest, happiest lives.
Absolutely.
Until next time, happy deep diving.
See you on the next dive.